Center. We are now joined by Joey Logano, driver of the number 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford for Team Penske. And Joey, this week on the deck lid of the car, you've got a nice collage honoring the 70th anniversary of the Paralyzed Veterans of America. Talk about how special that is for you to be able, particularly on Veterans Day, to be able to pay tribute to the veterans of this country.
Yeah, it's a great combination with Shell and Pennzoil and Team Penske as well. Along with the Joey Logano Foundation, we've all supported the PVA in the last quite a few years. So, and obviously being Veterans Day today and throughout this weekend, couldn't find a better time to put it on the deck lid and also change the mosaic paint scheme a little bit. Instead of having the race wins and stuff from Team Penske's 50th anniversary, we put a lot of pictures of veterans on the deck lid as well with that logo. So really cool way to try to honor our military and fighting for our freedom.
Outstanding. We'll open the floor for questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll start with Claire and go to Jeff and then to Tom.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. What mentality do you come into this race? I talked to you last week on the grid after the race, but it absorbed for a while, and now you head into this race knowing what you got to do. Talk about that and talk about the restarts here.
Yeah, you talked to me when I was mad after the race, so I've calmed down since a little bit since then. It's I think after the race last week, it felt like there was a missed opportunity to win that race. I think now we understand what we have to do when we come here. We pretty much got to win. I was joking about it earlier this weekend or this week. I was talking about as we went into Talladega in the last round, we were in by 0 points, and so now we're in by 1 point. So we're closer than what we were. So I think this has been a good racetrack for us. In the past we've run really well here. We haven't gotten the win yet, but we've come close quite a few times, and we've had some fast cars, and we had a good car here in the spring as well. So, restarts was part of your question as well. That was they become pretty hairy here, especially kind of just going up through the gears into turn one is usually tough. It's one of those racetracks that there's no banking, there's no turn down the front straightaway, so it's really hard to see the cars in front of you. So it happens here every now and again when someone doesn't have a good start. Maybe they spin their tires, maybe they miss a gear, and the second row back behind that car, the person can't see. So that driver will run right in the back of that one and it'll just make this big stack up. You see it at Watkins Glen too. It's a very similar restart areas there. So that gets crazy. And then obviously when you see it, think about the dog leg, and we're all 2, 3, 4 wide barreling down into turn 3 after the dog leg. It's pretty crazy.
Okay, we're going to go to Jeff, then to Tom, then to Woody, then to Wolfgang.
How much do you want them to know about your point situation? How much do you want to hear about it? Do you want to be given frequent updates?
It's pretty simple, in all honesty, for us and what we have to do. So I know what I have to do and what the situations are, but obviously I kind of need to know during the race too if something changes that I don't know, or just make sure we're all on the same page. It is important for me to know. I think so. Some drivers may say something different, but for me, I think, I don't want an update, the whole race, but every now and again, especially towards the end of the race, to know where we're at and know what I have to do to get in.
Go next to Tom.
Hey, Joey, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Is it an advantage to you because Team Penske can focus all its resources on you? Or is it an advantage to Gibbs because they have 3 cars going for the last couple spots?
In all honesty, I feel like it's probably an advantage for me. You think about it, if we can develop something new here in the next few weeks, this week, last week, and the week ahead of us, we're able to just come up with one and put it on the car. They really can't do that. They got to build 4 of them, So I think the ability to put something on the car quick is something that Team Penske's always, we've talked about a lot as having a smaller race team. That's the advantage that we have. We may not have as much information coming in from 4 teams, but when we do develop something, we only got to make it for a couple cars and not for 4 of them. So I think that's a pretty big advantage for us throughout the whole season, not just during the chase when one car is in and one car is out. It's an advantage that I feel like we have to be used to our strengths.
Go to Woody, Wolfgang, then Bob.
Woody came with MRN. Joey, you had a experience this week with Jake Leatherman's funeral service. I was wondering if you could describe how that came together for you and what that was like.
Yeah, that was actually, it came through my wife. We were sitting in the bus in Texas, and I guess it was on Facebook, and she showed me this video and kind of told us a story about Jake. And yeah, actually, to be honest, I walked into the bus from I think it was after qualifying on Friday night, and she was crying, sitting inside, and I was like, oh no. I was like, what did I walk into? But she just read the article, and she told me about it and how he was such a big race fan. I said, man, it'd be really cool if we can do something for his funeral. And she got in touch with Molly from the local TV station there, and Molly's kids, and Jake was one of Molly's kids in her program. And we got in touch with her, and we actually ended up getting him a little race suit, put his name on it. He's a big Richard Petty fan, so we put the 43 on it for him. And then the coolest thing about all this was the whole racing community got into it. It wasn't just Brittany and myself. You know, there's around 100 team members there. And it was one of the most surreal moments, and one of the most proudest moments I've been to be a part of this NASCAR community. To see everyone come together, competitors that we compete against every week, and you know we come out here to the racetrack and we fight the crap out of each other every week. But to see us all together and come together as one team and be NASCAR in a whole for a child that was looked at us as superheroes, and that's how he described it. That's how his family members described what he thought of NASCAR. And you know, the only part I really was bummed out about is I didn't get to meet him, and we didn't get to do this while he was alive. That part was kind of the most depressing part for me, is that, you know, all of us came together and we're all there for him, but we weren't able to meet him and give him his race suit, and how cool he would have thought that would have been, and to see all his heroes and pit crew members there at that day, you know, would have been very special. But I've never been to a funeral for a child before. That's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, but one of the most impressive things to see our community come together like that. So, you know, it definitely was eye-opening, and you know, makes you think, puts life into perspective for you a lot of times when you see it. I don't have a kid yet, but I couldn't imagine, you know, watching his dad and his mom and his sister and grandparents all there. It's just, it really tore my heart up, that's for sure. So, you know, when you see kids like that now, we happen to go to a children's hospital. We had it scheduled for yesterday anyways, and it kind of made that visit different for me.
Go next to Wolfgang, then to Bob.
Joey, 2 months ago, Team Penske was winning the IndyCar title with Simon Pagenaud. Are your IndyCar colleagues coming up to give you moral support at the final race?
Yeah, Simon was in Martinsville, which was fun to have him up there. You know, that's the cool thing about Team Penske. You know, we're able to have a lot of different drivers from different forms of racing, and we can all hang out and talk about you know, our different disciplines of motorsports. So, yeah, it's fun to have him around for sure.
Go next to Bob.
With Harvick having won 5 of the last 6 here, does that change the dynamic at all? And do you watch him or look at what he's doing any more in practice than you would usually?
Well, I think it's no secret what he's done here is very impressive. He's won a lot of races here. He definitely has something figured out. You know, we've learned as a race team to worry about ourselves, and that's the only way we're going to control our own destiny. But we also a lot of times learn from what other people are doing to change what we're doing sometimes. So, you know, yeah, we watch what he does on and off the racetrack. We have to see what, you know, kind of what it is and what makes him dominant at this racetrack. I will say it seems like, yes, he's very fast here, but he's also beatable here. You know, you look at the spring race. That was pretty close. It was really close. Fun to watch for me when I'm on the way out here. But, you know, there's been times that hasn't been very strong. You know, he didn't qualify very well here in the spring race. So there's a lot of opportunity out there for us. It's not a given for him. Obviously, this is this garage area is very tough, and advantages don't last very long. You know, and yes, he's had an amazing run here, and his advantages lasted a long time, and he still will be a car that we're going to have to go out there and compete against to beat. But, you know, we definitely don't come in here feeling defeated. That's for sure. I feel like my team's got everything it takes to beat him.
Any additional questions for Joey Logano? Let's come back here to Tom.
Hey, Joey, just one quick follow-up. Do you care who you race at Homestead if you make it?
I missed it. What?
Do you care who the other 3 guys are at Homestead if you're one of the 4?
No, I don't care. No, I really don't. I want to get myself in. It doesn't matter. In all honesty, you got to win the race in Homestead. It's happened the last 2 years, and there's a very good chance the winner of that race is going to be in the Final 4. You know, that's how it's going to be. So whoever's in it doesn't really make a difference. You got to win the race. You're going to have to beat everybody. So worried most about us getting in and not really locking somebody else out.
Additional questions? Well, Joey, good luck this weekend in trying to make the championship 4, and thanks for joining us.
Great. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.